Welcome back to our program, Brunswick Memories. I'm Nancy LaCour, and this is our visitor today, Bill Rienerth, who's the owner of Donut Shop in Brunswick. He's been with us for quite some years. Bill, tell us your full name and a little bit about yourself.
My name's Bill Rienerth. Came to Brunswick in 1962 from Cleveland. Lived in the west side of Cleveland. And met some people from working at Mr. Donut on Pearl Road that lived in Brunswick. And a lot of the customers from Mr. Donut there lived out here. And so they just got to meet them and always wanted to see where the heck they came from, because they said Brunswick's a nice place and there's hardly nobody out there. And these guys were always working on their cars and that, and I was interested in cars at the time. So we got friendly with Jerry Gall and Gene E. Hayes, and then knew Dave Goodyear from a friend of mine moved out to Brunswick even when I was in high school, and I always thought that Brunswick, that's the middle of nowhere, you know. It seemed so far away because all we had was Route 42 back then to get out there. So we you know, you didn't have 71 or nothing like that. So, but then a policeman from Middleburg, or no, he was from Parma Heights. He had a house for rent on Carpenter Road, and he said, "Why don't you come out and look at it?" You know, and I was just newly married and had a baby. So me and my wife came out and looked at it, and we liked it. It was like 15 acres of property. So we rented it, and it was like $85 a month rent. And we stayed there almost a year, and we couldn't afford it, so we had to move back into Cleveland. So we moved to West 56th Street for about a year. And then we liked Brunswick so much, we seen a house for sale on East Drive, and we bought it on a land contract, and we stayed there like 11 years. So, and that was about the time I was getting ready to open a donut shop. So it was 1972 we opened a donut shop. So
I believe you said too earlier when we were talking, Bill, that this was not your first trip into the sale of donuts, that you worked at Mr. Donut where you met these people,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I worked there like 12 years before I opened Donutland.
So you had a full background in this type of business before
Yeah.
you ever came here.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't, I mean, I just knew how to make donuts. I didn't know how to really run a business, but I learned as I went. You know.
Fast, right?
Yeah, real fast.
And you've always been up where you are right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there like 30 years now, so.
How did the people in the area take to this little donut shop coming in? Because I presume you were the first one, weren't you?
Yeah, they were real happy to see me come, because there wasn't a donut shop south of Middleburg Heights. And a lot of people thought I wasn't going to make it, too. They thought that there wasn't enough people in the area to support it. And it's just, there's no way you can sell enough coffee and donuts to pay the rent, you know. But it worked out, you know. In the beginning, I had a partner. My brother-in-law was my partner in the donut business, and he didn't like the business, so he sold out to me after about 6 months. So. Very
short partnership.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, we were still friends afterwards and everything.
Yeah. But you did open up shop right about the time that Brunswick was beginning its real growth, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. The population was probably like less than 10,000 at the time that I opened. So it really started growing after that. And inflation really set in after I opened too. Yeah.
Then you've actually sort of, even though you've not changed the size of your shop, you've grown with the town.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And been very involved with the growth of this town too. Now you said that when you first came out here, your shop and just one other place was in that little strip. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there was just Convenient Food Mart was all the way to the north end of the shopping center there. And then it was a few years it was 3 or 4 years after I opened before they built the buildings in between. It was just field in between us, and there was like gravel. It was a gravel parking lot out front, and I remember how dirty and dusty everything would get around there from the cars pulling through there with the gravel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had professional buildings to the south of us that Kermit Neely was in, and Robert Vokes, the CPA, and then there was an insurance agent next door there. So I did business with all them, you know, because they were right there. And then Old Phoenix Bank right across the street was real convenient. So, and they helped me get the business going. So.
Now, how many businesses are in that little shopping strip now, Bill?
Right now, there's a trophy shop, there's a Christian bookstore, and there's a TV repair and a sound effects place that does car stereos and things like that.
So even though it's changed, it's still a busy little area right there.
Brings a lot of people in. Not as many people as Convenient Food Mart brought in, but still, then we have Walgreens that just opened to the south of us too. So they bring a lot of people in.
And the bank across the street doesn't hurt your business either, does it?
No, they bring a lot of people to the area.
Right.
That's for sure.
Have you seen much change in that corner area where you've been, Bill, in these 30 years?
Not too much change in the corner, other than the bank, and then all the redoing of the center of town that the city did, and I think trying to think of what organization did. The Rotary Club did it. The clock tower and that in the center of town, and they did a lot to dress up the center of town. But then you miss seeing the old buildings there too, you know, like the Zimmerman store that was there, and that were on the one corner. So.
And the center of town, to me, has gotten so terribly busy, and traffic flows so fast there. Does that flow of traffic hurt the business at all, Bill?
I think it does, because when I first opened, it was just like a 3-lane, or 2 lanes and 1 center lane for turning. And you could walk across the street and have no problem, and cars could slow down and pull in and get out of the parking lot. But now it's like 5 lanes across, and it's almost easier to drive across the street than it is to walk across, because it's hard to walk across that street with all the traffic. And
it's hard to drive.
Yeah.
I know when I try and go to your place, I always make sure I'm coming from the south, so I'm turning right.
Yeah.
And sometimes I even continue north after I pulled out so I can turn south, rather than having to go across all the traffic at that place.
Yeah, that was the only light in town when I first opened. I think that was the only light in town, right at the center, at 42 and 303.
I can
I
imagine.
don't think there was even a light on Grafton Road at the time.
Now, someone the other day was mentioning too how at one time 303 they could drive on there and feel like they had a canopy of trees over them, and I suppose you saw that change also.
There was all tree all the way down both sides of the road, and I guess a tornado took a lot of them out in the 60s, and then when they widened the road, of course, they took the rest of them. But it's just amazing, all the cars coming up and down 303 today, and compared to what it was years ago. You know.
Now, since the businesses have built up on 303, have you ever considered moving your business to another place?
Yeah, I did. I thought of moving on 303 because that's where the traffic is going to 71, but it's just, it'd be hard to match the kind of parking lot I got. You know, the parking is just, you can't compare it. There's just all kinds of room for parking. So.
Right. But you did say for a short time you had a little branch store, right?
Yeah, we had a branch store in Kmart Plaza, in fact, right where the building of Radio Shack is.
Okay.
But we opened there when it was like nothing going on there. We were sort of just didn't do any business back there. It was kind of a waste of time.
You probably should have stayed there.
Huh? Yeah, I should have stayed there another 10 years or so. But was just too far back off the road, and we had no road sign or anything, and nobody knew we were there. So it's just people that happened to be going through the shopping center and the people right in that shopping center. And there wasn't a country counter there then, or a giant eagle like there is today. It was Kroger's came in after that, after we were even there. There was a Kmart and then an open field all the way over to that building. And,
well, now, was that a full store, Bill, or did you continue to make the donuts where you are now and take them out there?
yeah, we still made them where we're at now. We delivered them there every morning. But and then we didn't open up till like 8 o'clock in the morning, which was bad too. We didn't open up early enough. We should have opened like 6 o'clock in the morning. But at that time, I couldn't get nobody to go in there that early to open it up, so I settled for 8 o'clock.
Now, you were talking about the people coming in so early, too.
Mm-hmm.
How has your clientele changed from the time you were first here until now?
It really hasn't changed a lot. It's you get the same kind of people, just the faces change, but they're the same type of people, you know, like the old retired guys come in the morning and they hang around and have their coffee and that, and but some of the faces are still the same. Some people have been coming in since I opened. They come in 2-3 times a day, like Richard Dolby and Bill Shabala. I mean, those guys they've been customers since I opened, and in fact, Mr. Dolby, I've known him since I was at Mr. Donut. So I've known him like 42 years. So he worked at the Chevy plant. He used to come in there at night when I worked at nights, and when I opened, him and his wife have been my best customers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now, those are the people who come into the store. How about the people who come in? Because I've seen people walking out with boxes of donuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are these large companies or offices or something
Well, a lot
that
of
come in?
yeah, insurance men take them for their clients, and people take them back to their offices and to their different places where they work. You know, they take them all. Then in fact, they take them on planes with them to a lot of different cities. Even we've had people say they're taking them to California because they can't get certain kinds, you know, there. You know, like poppy seed donuts and so forth that we have. So. Yeah, you just never know where they're going.
Right.
So.
A big difference. Well, what about the kind of donuts that you've made then? You say that they can't find the kind they want. Has that changed since you first came out?
It hasn't changed a lot. We pretty much can make just about any kind of donut people want. You know, we can make them to order, or just some we have all the time. Like cream subs are one of the donuts that I created years ago, and I don't think anybody else has them. But, and they're still popular today. People still come in and ask for them. If we don't have them, they're disappointed. So
What kind did you say?
they're called a cream sub. It's a cake donut. It's shaped like a crescent, and then we fill it with vanilla cream, and we put a coating on it. It's like a chocolate coating, like almost like a Hostess Ho-Ho.
Oh.
And it's just different from any other donut, you know. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Then we make nut rolls and poppy seed rolls that I don't think any other donut shop makes them, because we actually deep fry our nut rolls and poppy seed rolls, where most of them are baked in the oven, you know. And there's a few different kinds. Poppy seed donuts, you can't hardly find them anywhere. So, but we make those to order. If somebody comes in, they want a poppy seed donut, all they got to do is ask, and we'll make it for them. So.
Well, I know you made some awfully good apple fritters, and they were huge.
Yeah, our apple fritters are pretty good, and we use sliced apples in our apple fritters. We don't use like an apple sauce or an apple filling. You know, we chop up sliced apples and chop them right into the dough with cinnamon, and then we fry them like that. So.
Well, I know I've got a favorite, and it always tastes good from your shop, and that's the one that's the peanut, just loaded on the outside with good peanuts. Yeah,
we put it on we put our toppings on the whole donut. The only ones we don't put on the whole donut is the sprinkles, and we just lay them on the top. But like peanut, coconut, butter crunch, we coat the whole donut with it. So.
Now, have there been any specialty kinds of donuts besides the one that you said that you'd made, that you make for certain times of the year?
Well, yeah, we make, like on, which is getting to be a popular thing, is Fat Tuesday, which is, I think it's the first or second Tuesday in February. And it's, they're called punchkis. And we fill those with all the different fillings that we have. Plus, we at that time of the year we use prune and apricot and poppy seed, all the ethnic type fillings like that. And every year that it seems like we get more and more orders for the punchkis. So, and it's,
so you've changed. As the times have changed, you've changed with it.
Yeah, that's only been maybe 6-7 years we've been making those, and it's something new. It's a much richer dough, and everything is double filled, and it's just a lot of calories. But I guess it's because the day before Lent starts, and people load up on the fat and the calories that day, and then they fast during Lent, so.
So actually what you're doing, you're changing your menu, so to speak, with the demands of the public, right?
We try to, yeah.
Do you remember anything different about what it was like when you first came here and what it's like now?
Well, it just was a lot easier to get through town back then. I remember that. You could drive up to the corner and go to a store. I mean, of course, the stores weren't as many stores as there is now, but you could just get around a lot faster. Seemed like,
What do you think about our town in that there's not a center of town anymore? It is, but I mean, it's not a business center.
Yeah.
Is that good, Bill, or does it not bother your business, or?
Well, I always thought it would be nice to have a center of town, that everything was around that one area, like Medina is. But I think with the Brunswick Lake area, with that going to start developing down there, that's going to be the new center of town down there, and that should be good for business for everybody. So.
Okay. If they bring in another big grocery store with its bakery center and everything like we've got now, you don't foresee any problems with that?
I don't think it would hurt my business any more than any supermarkets. I mean, people will buy donuts at supermarkets, and some might like them even better than mine, but they're not going to go there just to buy donuts, I don't think. They'll buy them if they're in there shopping for their, their groceries. They might pick up donuts, but so that's why I'm not worried about that. But the gas stations with the donuts and that are where I think it hurts me more than anything,
Where people can just go in and buy one with their coffee and
while
then
they're
just
in there
leave.
getting their gas, they can buy a donut and coffee and be back on the road, because it's convenient, and they're a lot more reasonable too. But we just have coffee and donuts, so that's why we have to charge a little bit more. Of course, we're making them fresh every day, and they're homemade. So.
And you said you have the coffee, which we know about.
Yeah.
And I think one of the questions that was asked of me earlier, to pose to you especially, was why does coffee always taste better at the donut shop?
Yeah, I think it's because we're just more concerned with it, because it's one of the only things we have to sell. We keep it fresh and keep it rotated, and filtered water, and good coffee. Good coffee. We have a coffee grinder. We grind it fresh, and it's the way it stays good.
Do you have just plain coffee, Bill, or is there blended coffees that you use, or anything?
Well, we have it's plain Colombian coffee, but we also have cappuccino machine for French vanilla and Swiss mocha coffee too.
You said then that you grind your own also? You just buy the coffee bean then,
Yeah, we
right?
buy the beans, and we fresh grind the decaf and the regular coffee.
Okay. Can you think of anything different that we haven't talked about yet, Bill?
Not, well, other than, people thought I was crazy when I put a credit card machine in the donut shop too, but a lot of people use the credit card to charge donuts, and Well, especially for big orders, you know. It's more convenient for them. They can charge it to their company and so forth, you know.
In our town, what is the biggest order that you can ever remember having?
Like the schools have given me the biggest orders, like Towsey School, Crestview School, Applewood. They've given me orders like 100 dozen a day for like donuts with mom, muffins with mom, and donuts with dad days they have, and grandparents' day and so forth. And they've given me a lot of big orders like that, but usually around 100 dozen is probably one of the biggest orders.
Then you work closely with the schools on some of these things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we usually, a couple times a year they get them like that. And it's a little hectic making them that big of an order.
I can imagine. Are there any other businesses that you work closely with here in town? I know you're very active. I think you're in Chamber of Commerce too, aren't you, Bill? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I've been in that for a long time. But no, I don't really work that close with any other businesses for the donuts, no. I used to supply Country Counter years ago at their stores, and then they started making their own, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, now you said you were with the Chamber of Commerce. Working with it, what changes have you seen all around Brunswick? Not necessarily just in the center, but in the outer parts too.
Well, the Chamber of Commerce has really grown in membership with all the industry that we've got over the past few years, and a lot of bigger businesses and the technical businesses that came into town. So our Chamber of Commerce is really doing great right now from what it was years ago. Because we had a small organization years ago, and it was tough keeping it together. So.
But they are very active now.
Very active, and yeah, they're doing good. So.
That's good.
And they have their golf outing every year and a few other things where they raise money to support it, and it does really good.
And you're one of their golfers, right?
Yeah, I tried it.
You tried it. I know they have quite an enjoyable time when they have those golf outings.
Yeah.
And it's a time for the businessmen of our town to relax as well as be serious in the various facets that they have. Going back to the growth of Brunswick here, you've seen quite a bit of the growth. What one particular thing that you can think of might have caused this growth, the rapid growth that we had?
I'd say it's more than one thing, but
okay.
I'd say Route 71 opening up was one of the biggest things for the growth, because people could get to Cleveland to their jobs a lot faster. So they move out farther. And then back, when I first moved out, I remember we didn't have city water either. And that was something that nobody wanted to move out here for until we got city water. And then we had what was called party lines on the phone lines too. And, you have like 4 different families on the same phone line, and you never knew when you could get on the phone, you know, in a hurry, you know. So.
Or when someone like in our neighborhood left the phone off the hook because they didn't want the children to be disturbed by the phone ringing. I remember that.
That was kind of inconvenient, yeah.
I never thought about the city water, but that would have made a big impact on the businesses, wouldn't it?
Sure. Yeah, people didn't want to move out unless they could get city water. So once all that came out here, then the town really started growing. So.
And as you said, it has grown rapidly. That's correct. You were right in the center of town, so you wouldn't have had too much problem with this. But since you've been here about 40 years, what's the difference in our city services? Now, you've told us the water one. How about the police, the fire department? What do you think about the changes there, Bill?
Well, I think it's really, it's great the way they've grown from what they were. You know, they just had the one fire station on 303, 303, that had the police station right in the same building. And there was like a chief and 3 patrolmen, maybe a couple extra volunteer guys on the police department back then. And so now you have full-time fire department, and you have, I don't know how many police you have on every shift, but you got, everything is really well covered, you know.
So as a local businessman, that must make you and all the other ones feel far more secure
Oh,
in
yeah.
your businesses.
Yeah, they do a good job. But the volunteer fire department always did a good job. I always thought that they did, they could get to accidents and fires and that almost just as fast being a volunteer, because they'd be coming from their house and they might get to the scene before the fire truck even got there, you know. And which is good, but I know they still have some volunteers, and that's where that does help. So.
In all these years that you've been here and been a part of the business community, have you ever had to use their services?
Yeah, I did. In fact, when that professional building next to the donut shop, the night before it was supposed to be torn down to build Walgreens, and the night before somebody caught it on fire, and so all that smoke came over into the donut shop, and so the fire department came and put the fire out, and but all the smoke blew right over into the donut shop, so we had to close up the next day to clean everything up, and we had to throw everything out that was in there.
So you lost product as well as
Yeah.
Business, goodwill, and everything else that goes with it.
A lot of people were upset. In fact, we had one of them school orders that morning. We had like 100,000 donuts sitting there for one of the schools. I forget
And it was all
had to be thrown. Yeah.
Oh,
The fire department called in the health department to check everything to make sure, you know, and they decided that everything should be thrown because of the residue that landed on everything. So.
But thanks to the quick work of the fire department then,
Yeah.
and the police department for
Right.
being around there.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Right.
So they got it taken care of, but yeah, somebody just started it on fire the night before.
Sounds like we're very secure here then with our departments as they are right
Oh, yeah.
now. Quick response time.
Yeah.
Of course, you were close. That does help some too.
Yeah, it is quick response for, I've seen, you know, called the rescue squad on people in the parking lot and so forth over the years, and they're always right there, you know.
That's terrific. You've been in town 30 years. How many more 30s are you going to be here?
Well, I'm working on another 30. That's all I can do right now.
In the same place,
Yeah,
hopefully with the same people, with the same clientele that we've got.
yeah. Give us
Well.
another 30 more and it'd be great.
Another 30 more would be great. You really are looking forward to that then, right?
Well, in a way.
Yeah. By the way, Bill, do you do your own baking there?
I
Or do you
still bake.
just train
yeah.
your others?
Oh yeah, I have a very good baker and a part-time baker. Marcy Stanky is my main baker. And then I fill in and make donuts whenever I need to, yeah.
And some of these people have been with you for many, many years, haven't they?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Marcy's been with me about 12 years, I think. And then Annie in the morning has been almost 10 years. And there's a few more, it's 3, 4 years here and there.
So they stick with you.
Yeah,
They enjoy what they're doing.
yeah, they must.
They must, right. Well, if we can think of nothing else, I thank you, Bill, for being with us. It's been very enjoyable talking to you, and you've shown us a little bit about what businesses in Brunswick has been like over these past 30-plus years. And we thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.